What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Grounded, our live Q&A show, kind of like a spin-off of the Wholesaling Elite. I'm Tanner Santucci with my broski, Isham Hipster. What's up, dude?
What up? What up, fam? How you
What
doing, man?
up? Boo? Good, man. Let's get it. So very cool. Yeah, Isham and I have been extremely busy, especially Isham, because some people know, some people don't, but Isham's moving literally what feels like halfway across the world. So Isham's been you may notice a different background, which is why I bring that up. So heads all over the place. We're all over the place, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm in my kitchen, so and Packers are on their lunch break right now. So if you hear some noises, I'll try and mute out. But it's more important that we come live and make sure that we're answering you guys' questions. So I didn't want to miss this.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, Isham's never gonna miss this stuff. He has to be on his deathbed to not be working, which is why he's a good partner to have, right? So, anyways, so as the quick reminders is if you have questions, ask away. That's what the show is for. We want to be able to give back. We want to be able to help as many people as possible in their land journey, and not even just land journey. I mean, if you're a wholesaler that is doing residential real estate or just an investor in general, we want to be able to add a tool to your tool belt and your business and your company. And that's kind of what this show is for. And so, as we've said early on, our model for land is not how most people do it. So, as you may be learning from us, maybe watching previous episodes on how we kind of underwrite, how our systems are, how we drive for dollars, all that stuff, you may realize it's not a direct mail campaign. We don't do offer based, we don't percentage based offer. Wow, brain fart. So our business is really suited for people that want to get into land full time. That's what our model is. That's what we do. We do land full time. And we want to get into development, which is why we did this. So that's just a quick. So again, if you have any questions, hop in the chat, ask away. That's what we're here for. We want to answer them live on the show. So send them away. Next is another fellow reminder. We are hiring acquisition people. So if you are interested in learning more about land, learning more about our business, you want to work with Isham and I because maybe you just think our energy is really cool, our vibe is cool, whatever it may be. Reach out to that email. Isham, what can they expect if they reach out to that email? Wow, brain fart. And how can they work with
Stop
us?
brain farting, man.
It's been a day.
No, it's all good. Trust me, I know the day you're having. Yeah, so when you email us, well, first of all, I'm in transition, so just expect a little bit of a delay in getting back to you. But we want to make sure that the people that that want to work with us are a good fit. And more importantly, we want to make sure we are a good fit for your vision, for your goals. And so we've got a massive vision for what we're doing with our company. We shared that with our mentor, Jamil Damji, not too long ago. And it kind of blew his mind. He's like, that's incredible. I don't know anyone who's doing that at that level. And so we really do, we have a goal of becoming essentially Keller Williams of land. We want to be the one-stop shop for all land transactions, whether you're a builder, a developer, or a person looking to buy their dream home. We want those people to understand and know that they can come to unwind and get the land that they're looking for and have it all ready to go. We're not just agents or realtors where we're just kind of saying, hey, what do you think about this lot? What do you think about this lot? We know the very specifics on those lots and what can be done and how to maximize it. So we're really good at what we do, and we've only been doing this for a short amount of time. So we're looking for people who want to join the team and grow with us. And just know this, guys, like land is one of those things that it's not like, like on the single family side where you can dabble a little bit in maybe a multi-family, project or this and that. Land is a completely different mind shift. I mean, completely different. It really is. We didn't think it'd be that different until we got in and we realized that we almost had to unlearn everything that we thought, was true. And so just keep that in mind. Like it's a completely different shift, which is why we're looking for people who want to completely transition to land. So that is one of the major caveats is you got to be willing to go all in. with us on this journey. And so, interview process is pretty thorough because we want to make sure that you're a good fit for our team. And so, just keep that in mind. But nonetheless, enough about our hiring needs. Let's get on with the good stuff. Shout outs to all the viewers out there. Smash that like button, share, do all that good stuff. Let other people know about this. This is a free resource. We want to keep doing this. The only way we'll keep doing this is if we keep getting questions. So please share this. Let it be known that this podcast exists.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, send this out. Share it, do whatever. I mean, again, we're here to give value and do our best. And again, like Aisha mentioned, we haven't been doing land crazy long. Like we haven't been in this business for a decade. We were wholesaling before land, but another reason we wanted to do this live specifically so you guys could be on this journey with us as we learn and build our business. And we want you guys to be a part of that, not just. We don't want to come on here and seem like the experts. Sure, we may be the experts in some regard, but we're not at a level of even close to where we dream of being. So we want you guys to hop in here and hang out with us and ask away. Enough with the questions, enough with the interviews. Let's get into the juicy stuff because I know people are going to want to hear that. And so to be honest, I am a little underprepared because it's been a week. But the good news is there's still plenty to talk about because it's a land business. So that's what we can talk about. We can talk about anything and everything. But I want to start with recently, the last couple of days, I've had people DMing me about buyers, still trying to figure out what to say to them, what to say to builders. Alexis, what's going on, man? Oh, perfect. We're about to get into this stuff. So let's do it. Alexis hopped in and asked, what is a good way to negotiate over text? Straight to the point, or try to get them on the phones? Aisha, you want to take this one?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So I am a big believer in getting someone on the phones because although land is a more of a transactional thing, there's not a lot of emotion tied to land. Please understand that usually people that do own land are getting hit up all the time. They're getting mail, they're getting postcards, which is also mail. They're getting cold calls from foreigners. They're getting all this stuff. And so, one of the big mottos in our company is don't be better, be different. And so how you can be different is getting on the phone and just relating with that person as quickly as possible and not really even talking about the deal. It's more so just talking, learning about them, learning about why they bought the land, learning, what it is that they're seeking to get from this. And then just getting all the information that you can. We call it the pillars. So finding out about the utilities. Is the lot on city sewer or septic? Is the lot metered? Meaning, does it have water, running to the lot? All these things add value to your offer. And the more information you can get, we always tell our sellers, look, I'm going to ask you just a few questions. They may seem annoying, but none of this information is public. I know everything that's public about your lot, so I'm not going to ask you anything that I can't look up on my own. But all this information I'm going to ask you will potentially help increase our value. And that's all they want to hear. They want to know that, okay, cool, let's talk this thing out. And it's just kind of hard to have that conversation, through text. Through text, things are very transactional. What's your offer? Things of that sort. Now, if you do reach out via text and you've connected with them, what I would do is just text them saying, hey, is there a way that we can get on a call? It's only going to take 2 to 3 minutes. I just got to ask you a few questions that'll really help better our offer, and it's all information that I couldn't find, on the public property appraiser side or whatever. And then from there, transition that bad boy into a phone call. So hope that helps, Alexis. If you need more clarification, just throw in another question. We'll get to it.
Yeah, Alexis,
Lamarius, what up?
Lamarius, what's going on, man? I did want to add to Alexis is the other good thing about now, again, texting is always good. I just listened to another podcast. I was listening to a podcast on my drive today where the guy was like, we did a ton of deals texting in land. It's totally possible. Because again, like Aisha was saying, land is super transactional. A lot of these sellers just care about the number and that is simply it. But at the same time, more deals are won via relationships, and it's hard to build relationship and rapport over text. It may work for some people, but always hop on the phone. We tell our team that texting is almost last resort for us. If we can't get someone on the phone, sure, send them a text. But just know you're probably going to have more success via over the phone. Now, if you're in your market, if you're doing land in your market, no excuse to go knock on the door, go meet them in person. To be honest with you, we have been. I travel back and forth between my market, our company's market, and everything. And we've had more success already seeing the benefit of being in person, because I'm able to shake not only builders' hands, I literally just left the seller's house today. And so the amount of rapport and respect, and they want to see you, they want to meet you, they want to know you're a real person, because a lot of these people are getting spam. I mean, I'm sure, Alexis, I'm sure you get spam calls all the time where you get spam likely. And so by being in person, or even just making that phone call, it eliminates a lot of headache and a lot of doubt in the seller's mind. So,
and I know you said negotiate. I just want to clarify, because I know I was talking more kind of initial outreach.
Yep.
When negotiating, I would 1000% do that over the phone. That has to be a conversation, because there, a lot of times you may need to explain, why you're at where you're at. And then you may also need to find out, hey, if that number doesn't work, what is a good number? Because there are options. There really are. There's a bunch of ways that you can get, pretty creative with how to get closer to their number. And that way it shows good faith to them too, and that you're actually trying, you're not just lowballing. Because that's the number one thing that landowners care about, is they do not want a lowball offer. But we've been able to educate plenty of sellers. Tanner, what was that one, the one deal? I think he started out the number that he threw at us was 600,000.
Oh yeah.
And we're about to go under contract at like 275 or something like that. There's no way that would have happened through a text transaction. They would have just been, or through text communication, they would have just moved on and ghosted us. And I'll say one more quick thing. The reason why, or just to back up a little bit of a story with what I'm saying, when we first started with land, our first campaigns were all text. We did everything through automation. Everything was through text. And we quickly realized that that's not good. It was great for being able to get a lot done really quickly. But when it came down to negotiating or actually communicating with the seller, we had to quickly get it to the phone. So I don't want to belabor the point. Hopefully that helps, Alexis.
Yeah, and I keep thinking of new things. And so while Alexis is on here, I do want to add on the negotiation part. And a way to negotiate too over text is, Isham actually taught me this, by the way. So Isham, GOAT status. If you're going to because some sellers, I'll be honest, we've seen this. Some sellers refuse to get on the phone. They simply just want everything over text. If that's the case and you've tried and you've exhausted and they're like, just stop calling, just send everything over text, send it over text. But if you do and you're ready to make your offer, at least write your reasoning on why your offer is first and then the number last. Or hide the number at the bottom of the text somewhere in like the last paragraph, because what's going to happen is if you send a number first and they don't like that number, they're not even going to read your reasoning. So make sure when you're negotiating over text that your text is at the bottom or it's hidden in like the last couple sentences. So that way they have to read through it, read your reasoning, and then you can go from there. So that was just a quick final negotiation point. Also, the last thing I want to mention real quick, since I mentioned going in person, knocking on a door, if you don't feel comfortable knocking on a door, Mill Cole, which is the deal that Isham's talking about, seller wanted 600. We're about to go under contract, like I believe under 300,000. I didn't even knock on that guy's door, but I did go to his house. And what did I do? I left a piece of mail that was all prettied up, typed up, and then I hand signatured it and wrote a little note at the bottom and left that in his mailbox. So if you don't want to go up and knock on someone's door, maybe you're a little bit newer into real estate and it's pretty intimidating, because it is intimidating. Leave something in their mail. Leave something on their doorstep. Leave something in their mailbox. It goes a long way. And just ask them to give you a call.
Hey,
again,
quick,
yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, real quick on the number. Another thing that just popped into my head that you may want to consider is, and this helps a ton. Instead of just dropping your number, give them a range and have your number be the high end of that range. So if your number is 100,000 or whatever, say we'll probably somewhere between 80 to 100,000, something like that, 90 to 100,000. Like, give them a range and just let them know that it varies, and it would be really helpful if we could find out some more information.
Beautiful. And I do want to clear stuff up for the audience, which is, if you're scared to give a number because you think it's too low, Honestly, I was expecting when we first got into land where more people are going to tell us to F off or hang up, even if we came in really low, less than the number they wanted. And honestly, we haven't seen too much of that. It's actually been really rare if someone hangs up when we give a number. Again, someone wanted 600, we offered less than 300,000, and the guy was like, okay, like that's actually not a bad number. And then we've had sellers, yeah, sure, we've had sellers hang up. We've had sellers, get upset about the offer, but those are people you're not going to do business with anyways. So don't be scared to throw out a realistic number, guys. It's literally a transactional business. All real estate is, in any form, any strategy, is all comes down to numbers. And if someone doesn't want to play ball at your number, then okay, move on. Anyways, Lemarius, I hope you're still here, brother, because we want to get to you real quick.
I think Lemarius is a lady, by the way.
Lady, I apologize. Lady, yeah, lady. Okay. Lemarius, let us know, because you've been in almost every live, and it would be nice to at least know. But anyways, my deal fell through, by the way. And the reason I'm sharing this, everyone, is so Lemarius said, my deal fell through, by the way, but now I know it's possible. So I'm definitely going to take a lot more action. This is huge, because not only does Lemarius saying, hey, look, this is no wholesaling land and being a part of these. And by the way, guys, if you haven't been listen to the last couple episodes, Lemarius has been in almost every episode, like I said. And so they've kind of kept us up to date on this deal, because I'm pretty sure I remember with this deal. And this is huge, though, guys, because it is real. Wholesaling is a real thing. You can assign contracts for them. You can assign contracts for a damn popsicle truck. That's the beauty of what we do, right? We're just looking for opportunity. That's what our mentor always tells us. Is we're not the end buyer, we're not the investor, we're not the developer, but we are on the hunt for opportunity, right? That's all we're doing. Sorry, I got a Slack call from one of our teammates. Okay, that's cool. Anyways, Lemarius with the ha. Taking a lot more action. It's huge in our business. I saw something the other day posted on Twitter. I follow a bunch of developers and real estate investors. And on Twitter, someone wrote, you can text, you can look at your screen, you can run numbers on a calculator all you want. No matter what you do in our business, deals don't get done unless you pick up the phone. It's that simple. The moment we kind of transitioned into a lot more cold calling rather than just texting or any other forms, business, it took off. We were able to sustain the amount of deal flow we were able to get, the amount of leads we were able to get were so much better. And I get it takes time. Like you can ask Isham. Isham was the head of our acquisitions for a long time, and so he really trained up our acquisition guys. And you can tell from the time they started calling till now, incredible. And there's a huge difference in being able to build rapport versus just looking at it from a numbers perspective. Honestly, in my opinion, you shouldn't give two shits about the deal itself on your first call or two. Really, you should be. I'm gonna have to block his number or something for now. You really should not be looking. I'm so thrown off. This is why my brain sucks. You shouldn't be looking at the transaction. You should be looking at building rapport. You should be looking at building the relationship with the seller, because at the end of the day, that's what gets the deals done, right? And that brings me to, I wanted to mention real quick in terms of building relationships. And we talked a lot about this last week, so I'm just going to keep really short on this. But someone reached out to me in DMs 2 days ago on Instagram and asked me a question about a buyer or builder, I should say. And they asked, is it important? And this is actually really relative to what Isham and I are doing in our business, because we literally have a deal that I could think of instantly for this. Someone DM'd me and asked, does it matter how the buyers or builders, I keep saying buyers, does it matter how the builders fund their deals? And I was like, it's the universe. Because Isham and I have been battling on a deal right now with a builder that is funding a deal not how we're used to. And so it's taking a longer time. And by what I mean is he wants to use a construction loan. And you would think, if you're new into the development game, new into the building game, new into the land game, you would think a construction loan is actually pretty common. And sure, it 100% is. But actually, most builders are going to use cash to close on the land, and then they're going to finance the build with a construction loan. But our builder, the one that wants to buy one of our deals right now, he wants to use construction loan. And we've only had this one other time. He wants to use the construction loan to buy the dirt at closing while funding the build. And why is that kind of weird? Kind of funny, because it usually takes longer. And what we have ran into, and I'm just giving you guys a real life example right now, and then Isham can tune in on the feedback that me and him were talking about. But why is that important? Is because we usually close in 30 to 45 days. That's what our cash builders are. They can close on lots fairly quickly, right? But when someone wants a construction loan to close at the same time at closing to use that funds to then fund the build, it takes way longer. And so what we've had to battle with in these cases is every single time we've had to get an extension with the original purchase agreement with the sellers. And so the reason I'm bringing this up is it's so important, and I'm having to ask this a lot more now. And again, see, we're learning all together, right? I'm having to ask this a lot more now. It's important to ask your builders when you're doing your original outreach, when you're talking to them, hey, how do you fund your deals? Because again, most builders will buy the dirt cash. If they buy the dirt cash, golden, you're solid. There's not much to worry about just because they can pretty much close whenever they're ready. But if a builder's like, hey, I only use construction loans, expect for that deal to close in 60 days, not 30. And 60 is still kind of pushing it. Some can get it in 45. But if you're working with a builder and you're on the hunt, and that's the only builder you're working with at the time because maybe you're newer into land, but that guy's like, hey, I only use construction loans. Figure out his timeline. Hey, how soon can you typically close with a construction loan? If he's like 45 days, perfect. If he's like 60 days, perfect. Now you know what you can work with. So when you're finding these deals with these sellers, you can expect that. You can tell them, those sellers, hey, I'm going to need 60 days to close on this thing. So I wanted to throw that out there. Ask your builders.
I'll jump in real quick.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So on that note, it's not that important to know that when you're talking to the sellers initially, because here's the thing to keep in mind. Again, with land, it's a whole mindset shift from single family. Single family, they need it now, close in 10 days, 14 days. Land, it's like whenever. They're in no rush to sell that thing, usually there's zero rush. And so when I called to get that extension, it wasn't a big deal. He's like, did the price change? I'm like, no, nothing changed with the price. Matter of fact, we were going to offer more earnest money just in case. That was like a little just in case thing we had. Just, if there's a little pushback, zero pushback anytime we've ever had to extend a land deal. So not a big deal. But one of the things that really helped us to do was to work that into our script a little better when we're doing our initial outreach. One of the questions we ask on our script towards the end of the call is, hey, so if we come up, if we come together on an agreeable number, what's a good date for you to close? And we leave it vague. We don't say, can you close in 30 days? Can you close in 45? How soon would you like to close? And 9 times out of 10, they're like, whenever. It's not a big deal. Then we'll say, okay, great. Normally, we typically put about a 45-day closing date on our purchase agreements. But in the event that, we need a little bit more time, we'll definitely let you know. It'd be no more than 15 days max usually. So that way you build in a buffer. Because if you start with 30 days and you try and get 30 more days, it's not that big of a deal, but that's a whole nother month that you're telling them. But if you start with 45 days, it's only 15 more days from 30. And then if you add on 15 more days, not that big of a deal. So I want to just really quickly go over Lamary, since we don't have to put it up, but she said, hey, just to catch everyone up on what happened with her deal that fell through. She said, I found a builder looking for 10 acres for $40K per acre. And then I found a realtor who sent me deals every day. And she found a 10-acre parcel for $350, locked it up for $350 and marketed to my builder for $380 in crickets. And so that's good feedback. Here's my suggestion to that without knowing. I'm a dude.
Yes,
bro.
I was right.
Oh, good.
Let's
Why
go.
did I think you were a girl? I remember. Okay, good. Oh, thank you. Anyways, not that we're like anti.
Yeah, not that girls are
bad. Yeah, man. Anyways, not that. So my feedback to you, Lamaris, would be this. That's great. Use that deal to go find buyers. You know what I mean? Not just for that deal, but potential buyers. It's always great to have a deal in hand. And even if that deal fell through, I would still use it. I would honestly still use it, not as a marketing tool, you know what I mean? But just to pique someone's interest, And so here's the thing. If you got crickets at 380, we need to know why. Were you marketing to builders that had no interest in that size of land? Was it the price? One thing that I may here's this is a challenge. I'm going to say this, with a little bit of like, and I know Tanner's probably going to jump down my throat for this. But you're trying to get a 30K spread on this, and you're new. Decrease that a little bit. Learn a little bit more about the game before you try making 30K on this pop. Maybe just take it up 10. You know what I mean? Try marketing at 360, 365, seeing what the feelers are. Maybe 365 to build in a little 5K buffer, just in case a buyer's like, I don't know, can you do a little better? It's like, well, what's better to you? So maybe try going at it from that angle. But again, use that deal to find more buyers, even if that deal goes flat. Even if there's a deal that we just assigned, we're still using that deal as kind of like bait, as a lure to attract more buyers. And then if the buyer says, hey, I like it, I'll take it. Sorry, we just assigned that thing. And you're actually training your buyers and your builders to act quickly anytime you send them something. So
yeah, I'll jump in and say this. So find a buyer, 10 acres, 40K per acre. I'll pull this back up. Realtor sent me deals every day. She found 10-acre parcel for 350. So what Aishan was saying is try to figure out why 380 doesn't work. If it fits his entire criteria, but he's gone ghost, there's a reason. You may think it fit his entire criteria, but there may be something he doesn't like. Have you checked wetlands? Is it in a marsh, or is there wetland? Is it in a flood zone? All these little things, there's a reason he went ghost at 380 if it supposedly fit his entire criteria. If all he gave you, and I'm just being blunt and honest, if all he gave you was 40K per acre, sure, that's great information to go off of and go try to find him something. But if you bring him a deal that's at less than 40K per acre, which this is, and he's gone ghost, there's something that he didn't tell you that is missing, right? So it's important to figure out why. So what I would do in your situation is call him out. And don't call him out in a rude way, but say, hey, look, I thought this is exactly what you were looking for. What did I miss? So that way I can change and go find you something that does. Or I can go back to the drawing board, try to rework the numbers on this thing and make it make sense for you. Because it may be 10 acres is a large parcel of land. So I don't know if this is rural. I don't know, I don't know how, I guess, suburban this parcel is. But if it's a rural piece of land, there may be no access to water, sewer, any of these things. And so really that may limit what can be built on the lot, right? And so it's important to understand the demographic. If it's in a specific area that he was looking for, and the 40K per acre, and again, this is under 40K per acre, then there's something else going on. So try to dig, try to find out. And again, when you reach back out to him, like you said, you're about to call right now, just say, hey, look, dude, I just want an answer in terms of, I just want to provide value to you. I want to be able to bring you the right deal. So that way you don't have to work for it as hard, and I can do that for you. Right. But if this deal doesn't work, can you help me understand why it doesn't work? And then go from there, see if he gives you more info and make it happen. But hell yeah, let us know if you call him and he answers and you guys have a good conversation. Let us know how it goes, for sure. That's awesome though. Take more action. Keep taking action, bro.
Lemarius, if you haven't done so by now, I don't know if you have, but find me on IG. I think I'm the lifestyle dude on IG, but find me on IG, DM me, and I want to help you get through this thing. It's always, you can always go back to a builder, and we've done that a million times where they've ghosted us and then we've gone back. So I'll fill you in on ways to do that. Awesome.
Cool. Good stuff. Then the next thing I wanted to mention to you guys is the best here. How you really make money in land is by finding opportunities that others miss, right? That's where we've made our biggest spreads. That's where we've done our biggest deals, is you're hunting for, infill lots, which again is what we specialize in, is infill lots. We're looking for lots that everyone's overlooking, whether it's for the area, whether it's because people don't think you can subdivide it. And so I wanted to share my screen real quick and explain exactly what this would look like. And I've kind of showed this before. So this is one deal that we had done somewhat recently, right? Closed on this, I don't know, like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Made a quick 15,000, nothing. By the way, I want to get this in real quick. FA, okay. Are you still hiring? Yes, we are. Make sure you send a email with email to team@unwindinvestments.com. We'll get back to you and let you know what the process would look like from there. So, anyways, back to the fun stuff. So this is a lot that 90% of people overlooked. The area's developing. This is actually a D.R. Horton community right across the street. Can you see that? Aisham, can you see my mouse?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I can't see it.
Shoot. Okay. Anyways, so
maybe I can move. Oh yeah, I can see it. You're good.
Okay, perfect. So this is a D.R. Horton across the street, D.R. Horton community. For those that don't know D.R. Horton, it's a national home builder. They're everywhere. They build a ton. They build tract homes, spec homes, little stuff like that, but they mostly build subdivisions. So usually when you see a D.R. Horton community, it's just like a Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is not going to put a Chick-fil-A where it's not growing. There's got to be an economic benefit, right? And so whether that area is established already or going to be established, they do a lot of research. And so look where the D.R. Hortons of the world are building. Look where the subdivisions are being built in your markets, because that's going to give you a good indicator of, okay, they've done a lot more research and they have a lot more money to spend on research than probably most of us. And so follow them almost. And so anyways, so we realized this is D.R. Horton. Perfect. This lot, I actually had reached out to one of our builders and he said, no, this lot's booty hole. Basically, it's not in the best area. He was looking at it from the sense that you could only put one house on here because right now it's one parcel. But I had spoke with the city, made some phone calls. We'll get into that if we'd like. But it turns out, obviously, this is a pretty big lot. It's close to half. It's over half an acre. And so as you can see here, that's easily 2 lots in our market. Now, I could go really into depth on it. So as you can see, this is just rough. These are the dimensions. So this would be an 85 by essentially 130 if we're rounding it lot, which you can do that in our marketplace. But that's where we found the gold. That's where we found money to be found, because essentially one lot is worth, I don't know, 30 grand. But now you have 2 lots. So what did you just do? You just doubled your money by finding an opportunity like this. So now instead of us having to sell this lot for 30, 35,000, now we sold it for, I think 55 is what we ended up selling it for. So we just instantly doubled our money right then and there because we realized an opportunity that everyone else overlooked. So in your marketplaces, that's why it's important to understand what your setbacks are. I mean, you don't have to know this stuff off the top of your head. I still have to go look stuff up all the time online in our market, but it's important to understand how to find that stuff. So for example, boom, I'm just going to type in Bay County zoning regulations. Bay County is one of the areas that we simply do business in, right? So you're going to be able to find in whatever market you're in, whatever county you're in, whatever, you're going to be able to find something that looks a lot like this. It's, most of it's called land development regulations or land development code. Those are the 2 things that you're going to find. So if you're in, I don't know, I'm going to make up a name, Austin County, right? Just type in Google, Austin County land development regulations. You're most likely going to get something that pops up like this. And it's usually going to be right at the top of the page. And so if you really want to figure out more about zoning, figure out what your lot's zoned by going to the property appraiser. Every county, every city, every jurisdiction is completely different. So understand how to find zoning. I'm happy to help. If you guys DM me on Instagram and you have a specific, I can try to help as quick as possible and just tell you how to find it. I'm not going to do all the groundwork for you. I'll be up front. Too much stuff going on in our own business, but I'm more than happy to take a quick look and see if I can help you figure out how to find zoning in your market. Anyway, so this lot we knew was zoned R2. So I'm simply going to go find residential zones. Again, it's all going to be different, but just use your noggins, right? And I'm going to click on whatever this is. I'm going to find R2 zoning. So boom, R2 single family and duplex dwellings. So it's going to tell you what can be built on the lot. That's important because that ultimately decides the value of a lot. At the end of the day, simply does. The builder knows that they can build a duplex. That lot just got more expensive. Because a duplex is going to be more valuable than a single family home, right? For the most part. Again, we're not talking luxury builds, custom builds. We're talking spec homes, something a builder would, build and sell right away to a first-time home buyer or whatever. And so, again, this is what, for the most part, your standard regulations and bulk regulations, zoning bulk regulations. So this is going to give you your setbacks. This is going to give you how big the lot needs to be. All of these things can be found in every single market. It's not just Bay County where we're in. Every single market is going to have some form of this. Again, don't expect it to look just like this because even the counties next to us are different than this, right? So that it all looks totally different. But this will just hopefully give you guys a good understanding of what to kind of expect when you're looking at this stuff, right? So it's going to tell you. So I know R2 right here, boom. This is, I won't even get into depth on that, but minimum lot frontage. What does that mean? That means how wide the lot is. It's just the width of the lot. Whatever side front of the lot is fronting the street, it's just the width. That's all the frontage is. And so it's going to tell you what the minimum frontage it needs to be. Okay, 50 feet. So if you're looking at a lot that you want to make an offer on, then you're like, ooh, this looks like a good lot. But then you pull up the dimensions on the property appraiser and you see that lot is only 45 feet of frontage. Well, I hate to break it to you, but that lot they won't allow it to be built on. Most counties are really strict, and they update these things very often. They have big board meetings. They have big meetings with all the commissioners of the county. These are updated usually very often. But if you have any questions, always contact the city. And what does that look like? So I would do
Tanner, I'm going to jump in real quick and let you guys know. There are things called variances that you can request. If you do need a small change, you can request a variance. And then one other thing I wanted to say, Tanner, is if you'll let the good people know how to find whether they're R1, R2, R3, that might be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. So for us, again, I'm just going to stay in Bay County so you guys can see this. I will finish this up real quick. Again, this is just what the setbacks are. So this is how far apart. I'll actually show this on a map. But setbacks are very important when looking at land, and you need to know the minimum size that the city's going to require. Everything else, again, I'm telling you, I'm not a freaking pro at this. You know how many times I have to call the city or the county just to ask simple questions. So don't be scared to ask. The county is not intimidating. I don't know how many times I've actually called the city or the county, whatever we're dealing with, and they don't even have an answer to it. They have to go up to someone higher. So don't be scared to ask questions, even if they're very, very simple, basic questions. They're not going to think you're dumb. I promise you, because I've asked some dumb questions to them to try to get some clarity. So Isham asked, how can we find the zoning? So for us, we go to our Bay County GIS map. Your GIS map is a map that every county, every city is going to have. And the GIS map, again, is going to show you, it's going to give you options, right? So let's just pull up that same deal, 4406 Cato Road. Search this real quick. Boom, if it loads, perfect. Parcels, click. So now it's going to take you to where, again, every GIS map is different. If I get a DM and someone's like, my GIS map didn't look like this one, how am I supposed to find it? Like, understand everything's different, guys. Every county puts a certain amount of money into this stuff. Some are better than others, unfortunately. So obviously this is the lot we were just looking at that I was showing. It's going to have a legend always. It could be over here. It could be over here. Just, again, use the noggins. Land use, zoning, boom. So now I can see what this thing is zoned. So as you can see, this is shaded all just one color yellow, R1. Our lot right here is zoned with these little stripes, right? What does that tell me? R2 Bay County, R2 Bay County. You can see this is blue. It's a whole different zoning. So every zoning map is 99.9% of the time, it's going to have some form of shaded filter. So it should be easy to distinct what the zoning is. Some maps will not show you R2BC. They'll just show you a color shade. So what do you have to do? You have to go to the legend. Okay, boom. What is this? This is yellow with some striping. Oh, perfect. Okay, yellow with some striping. R2 tells you essentially what can be built there, right? And so that's when I would go.
Tanner.
Yeah.
Let me ask you real quick. So we were talking about frontage a second ago, and that's the front of the lot. But like, this is a perfect example. So for this corner lot, how do we know which one's the frontage? Because it's on two different streets.
Ooh, juicy. Great question, by the way. So always the frontage is going to be the frontage that the city or the county recognizes on the documents on paper is going to be whatever the address of the road is, right? So as Aisha mentioned, this is a corner lot. So there's two roads. There's Cato Road and there's Grub Street, right? This is it's addressed, whatever, 4406 Cato Road. So I know that the county is recognizing the frontage right here as Cato Road. If this was 4406 Grub Street on the address, then I would know this is considered the frontage. The frontage is always going to have whatever the street name or the address is. That's where your frontage is going to be always. It's never going to differentiate. So the beauty of this, though, is you can still call the county and ask. I had to call the county and ask this. Hey, can we switch the frontage? What does that mean? That means rotate the lot where the county recognizes the frontage has changed. So now, instead of 4406 Cato Road, the county will allow it to be 4406 Grub Street. That's what will allow the subdivide I was showing earlier, which is why I drew the line vertically and not horizontally to split the lot. Hopefully that makes somewhat sense. Aisham, is there anything you need to clarify? Because that's honestly a phenomenal question, Aisham. Thank you for asking that.
Yeah, no worries. No, I mean, I think you're killing it, bro. There's a lot of stuff here to dive into. So just keep coming back. I'm telling you guys, when you're out in the field, you're learning, you're doing these things. Anytime you guys have questions about something that you run into, just jump back to the YouTube. And even though, we're not live, just ask the question. We'll get to it. If we can answer it right away, then we will. You don't have to necessarily wait to the Wednesday, but we will bring it back up Wednesday just because other people may want to know. But we want to help. So just communicate with us.
Yeah. Find us on Instagram. I'm at Tanner Santucci. Aisham's at Lifestyle Dude. Or Facebook. Facebook, Aisham Hipsher, Tanner Santucci. Aisham usually gets. Would you say you're better at Facebook in terms of getting back to people?
I'm pretty good at both now.
Okay, cool. I'll be honest, everyone. If you try to find me, message me on Facebook, that shit's getting lost. Just telling you right now. Can't say I didn't. I'm warning you. But Instagram, I will see it on Instagram. So DM us if you have any questions before Wednesday. Also, the last thing, if you have questions and it's Friday, write that question down on a sticky note, slap it on your computer, so that way you can remind yourself to come back Wednesday and ask that question. Or again, DM us and ask. So you don't have to wait till Wednesday, but we just want to make sure that we're sharing all these questions with everyone so they all get the value as well. So anyways, so what does a flood zone look like or a wetland? In our market, as we're in Florida, it's huge. There's wetlands and there's flood zones everywhere in our market. Flood zones are doable. Builders will build in flood zones. Depends what flood zone, but wetlands are the kicker. Just because it's in a flood zone does not mean it's in a wetland. Remember that. It can be two different things. But for instance, I do want to show what on our GIS map, what a flood zone or what a wetland is going to look like, right? So as you can see, obviously wetlands are going to be displayed as creeks, rivers, lakes, all this. But the thing is, these will flood over into where residential properties and stuff are. So as I keep following all of this, you will see, right? This is there it goes. This is a form of wetland. This is a form of wetland. Anything highlighted is a form of wetland. So as you can see, these homes are actually built in a wetland. Okay. So what had to happen right here is a developer, which I'm assuming this would be a developer, had to come in and they have to get mitigation. There's a lot of, I don't want to go into a whole wetland spiel because it can be very toxic and headaches for all of us. I'm trying to explain it. But just understand that, sure, you can build in wetlands. But if you're going to be looking at deals in wetlands, the most important thing is, especially if you're talking to agents, if you have an agent and you come across a deal that's in a wetland and you reach out to the agent, ask if they have a delineation report redone. Delineation report is going to explain if this wetland can essentially be built on or not. Some wetlands can be built on, some cannot. What are those reasonings? For example, some wetlands have protected species on those. And what a protected species could be a flower, it could be a bird, it could be a snake, it could be a tree. Literally anything that you think that is an organism that essentially could be on National Geographic can be a protected species. Okay. So that's why delineation reports are done, because there are some types of plants and animals and stuff that counties will say, yeah, we don't care, you can build on it. Right. But there are certain stuff that's protected that the county's like, no, we don't want it gone. We want to keep that stuff. More often than not, it's a type of plant, to be honest, which sounds weird. But counties care more about the plants than a lot do about animals. So you're not going to come in here and be like, oh, there's a protected gorilla species. That's not going to happen. It's usually something super minor. It could be an insect. So just understand that about wetlands. We really don't do much in wetlands. We try to stay away from them just because there's a lot of work that goes into them. Wetlands for one lot, just your average size lot, like something like this, mitigation, which is the process of where a builder has to go through with the biologist and determine what can be taken down, what can't. That can cost up to
spindy. I don't know if we lost Tanner or if my internet's crap, but
Did I lose everyone?
Tanner's making the O face now.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Okay, there we go.
You're
Did I
back.
freeze? There's a
Yeah, you
storm
said
rolling through.
wetlands can cost, and I was like, and then you just dipped out.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the storm rolling through. The last thing I'll add about the wetlands is mitigation can cost up to 50 grand and take up to 6 months. And that is before a builder can even get his permits to build on it. So now you're talking about a really lengthy timeline and a lot of money. So that's kind of why we stay away from wetlands. I've heard of land investors that love wetlands because it's not many people, most people are scared of them. So if you really understand the process, there's a really big niche, especially in coastal environments, where you can make a lot of money in land investing by going after wetland properties. But just understand there's a process with it and it takes money, and be ready to shell out money. A delineation report in our market costs about $1,500 to get done. I know another wholesaler in our market that has lost money on deals because they've got a delineation report done, spent $1,500, and that deal had to fall through because they figured out that nothing could be built on that lot. So it's a risk reward. Obviously, if you're newer into land, it's probably something I just said. You're about running away. You probably turned off your monitor. Don't want to hear that ever again. But that's just something to keep in mind. Now, I do want to show what wetlands were going to look like, or flood zones. I'm so sorry, real quick. And I'll make this really short and sweet. So as you can see, it's essentially the same thing, right? But I can throw on the overlay of wetlands, and it's usually, for the most part, going to show up the same areas as flood zones, but these are really wet areas. So let's go to a little more drier area. Let me take off the wetlands real quick. So as you can see here, this is a type of flood zone, AE. There's really only 3 that we have to deal with. Flood zone X is your high and dry. That's what you're looking for. That means it's not in a flood zone. You're good to go. Everyone wants those. Flood zone AE is the next step up. And this is the same for anywhere across the country. This is a FEMA flood zone. Our AE is going to be AE in Texas. It's going to be AE in California. It's going to be AE in New York, right? It's a national flood zone map that they use. But anyways, so you may see that like AE is the second highest. It's the one above X. AE is okay. AE is something that builders will build on. So if you are anywhere in the country and you see AE, just know you most likely are still okay. Like, you're not going to run into too many issues. The only issues that builders somewhat are hesitant on is depending on how low the area is, which I'll get into in 1 second. Whenever they build that property in a flood zone, for example, AE, the flood insurance for most areas is going to be required on the buyer's end, right? So the builder is going to build that house. They're going to sell that house, but they have to market that saying, hey, this is in a flood zone. And hey, you're going to have to most likely pay flood insurance depending on the area. The only reason that's a negative is because some people don't want to spend an extra $100 a month paying for flood insurance, right? That could rule some of those buyers out for those builders. So just keep that in mind. We do stuff in AE. The last thing I'll mention with flood zone AE is the 28. So people are probably wondering, why is this 30? Why is this 28? That is actually the height above sea level in feet. Now, I don't know if every GIS map is going to show this, but just keep in mind, if your GIS map is good enough to where it does show flood zone AE 28 or whatever, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, just know that's the height above sea level that property is going to sit at. So obviously, flood zone AE 28, builder's probably going to have no issues with it. 28 feet above sea level, it's probably going to be high and dry. Anyways, okay, I'm done ranting about flood zones and wetlands. Aisham, is there anything I did not touch on that you are just itching at?
No, not at all.
Okay.
There's a lot.
Yeah, I gotta take a breather here. Aisham, let's talk real quick. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen so we can get back to regular televised program. Aisham, tell people a little bit about our, maybe systems, maybe something that they should be as someone new. Should they get into a CRM so early with land? Should they be pulling lists? Should they be driving for dollars? Like, what are maybe some system things that people should keep in mind when building a land business?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I want to go over systems. I think maybe we can talk about that on another one, because that's
Okay.
a pretty in-depth conversation we'll need to have. But I would like to know, what do you guys want to know about systems and processes? One of the things that I would love to do is just kind of walk you guys through our system and our process and our company. What are the different technologies we use, outside of the property appraiser and the GIS, I know a lot of people ask about CRM. What CRM do you use and whatnot? For the most part, a lot of that stuff, it's not irrelevant. It's just very specific to you and your marketing, method, or just your style of organization. We actually are in the process right now of potentially transitioning from using two CRMs to, we found one that's really cool. I'll throw it out there right now. It's called Pebble CRM. It's a CRM that's specific for land. And so shout out to my good friend Sean Hammond, who filled us in on Pebble. And I was just on a call with the founder of Pebble earlier, learning about their CRM, and I'm blown away by it. And so, as we start to work that in, we'll definitely give you guys, an overview of kind of how our system works and what it looks like. But I will say this: in the beginning, you don't need any of that. Like, I literally used a note. This guy right here. This is my CRM. I'm not going to show you guys. It's kind of a shit show, but I had I would put the person's name, their address, and phone number, and then all my notes underneath it. And it was cool because, in land, it's not like single family. So you're not dealing with so many people. It's very easy to remember. You see someone's name, their address, you can pretty much remember the entire conversation that you had. But it's just nice to be able to flip back to that page and go, okay, yeah, this is where you left off. Again, guys, sorry, like, there's literally packers and movers all around right now, and there's not really a quiet area for me to go to, so no big deal. But just wanted to give you guys a heads up if you're hearing some funny noises in the background. Shout out to the packers in my house. They're doing awesome. They're doing all the stuff that we don't want to do. But anyways, so systems and processes, definitely want to go in on that stuff. I geek out on all that jazz. So we will definitely cover that stuff, but just know it is not necessary in the beginning at all to spend any money on getting your first deal. It's not. Like, getting your first deal, you don't need to spend a dime. Matter of fact, fun fact, Jerry Norton has a system called PropWire, right? It's a list puller. It's kind of like Batch and PropStream, but it's free, completely free, right? So we were like, you know what? Let's try PropWire. So the last list we ran, I forget how many properties we pulled. It wasn't a lot. It's maybe 200 properties that we pulled for free. We skip traced them. I think it was like 10 cents a skip or something like that. And we ended up coming across a lot that is potentially going to net us between 30 to 50,000, right? And that's from a free list, and we paid 10 cents to skip it, right? About to pull in 30 to 50 G's from this one lot. And so, just know that it's not necessary right now to throw down on all this expensive technology. It just isn't. There's plenty of stuff out there to get you guys going. PropWire. Shout out to Jerry Norton for throwing that together, dude. You're a legend.
Yeah, Jerry's got a lot of good YouTube content on land as well. So if you want to check that out, by all means. Jerry builds himself, so he'll know a thing or two about land. Anyways, that's going to conclude this episode, really. I've still got a lot to do today, and so I need to get going on it. But again, just a reminder, like, subscribe, share this. I know this episode was kind of all over the place, so I apologize personally. But if you get value out of this, if you learn even one or two things from each episode, I mean, it's going to boost your land investing tool in your tool belt, like I always like to say, incredibly, because we do the damn thing, right? We close multiple deals a month, just land. So we're not experts, but we know a thing or two. So if we can help you guys, that's all we want, and give you guys let you guys in on the little secrets that we know. So appreciate everyone showing up. Keep rocking, keep showing up. Next week, again, if you have any questions, save them. Let's talk about them live on the episode. That's what ultimately we're doing this for. We're not doing this just for me and Isham to rant, because we do that every day with each other off air. So if you guys want questions asked or answered, ask away. Outside of that, keep showing up, keep showing love, and we greatly appreciate you guys. Until next time.
Peace. FA, holler at us. We got the email scrolling around the bottom. Shoot us an email. and then we'll get back to you. We don't need a resume or any of that stuff. We will definitely connect, and over time we'll get it done. So yeah, thank you so much for inquiring. It's an honor. And Mr. Sadiq, good to have you on here. Shout out to you guys and everyone that came, man. We're super grateful for you guys, showing up and commenting and potentially sharing and just getting the word out there. We're super grateful. So you guys have an awesome week. Hope you guys had a great 4th of July yesterday. Happy Independence Day to America. I don't know how long we've been around, but it's been a minute. So it's cool. Love this country.
Let's go, America. All right, y'all.
America.
We love y'all.
Peace out.